Hello, welcome to Nate Flicks. I am Nate. You are you, and Halloween Resurrection is a horrendous attempt at making a Michael Myers film. It's been trashed by practically everybody, but that is why today we're going to dare to do the impossible. I'm going to take it upon myself to do this Herculean task of presenting to you 5 good things about Halloween Resurrection. Number 5, it's Rick Rosenthal's callbacks. And every Halloween film after the original, after the 1978 film, they all feature a lot of homaging, a lot of callbacks, a lot of nods to past Halloween films, little Easter eggs for fans to scour the films for and be like, hey, that's the thing. I remember that. That's good times. I like that. Cool. I remember when that happened. Awesome. Michael's doing the thing again. Awesome. And there's a lot of that in this film. And yes, it's a bit masturbatory because it's Rick Rosenthal being like, hey, I directed Halloween 2. Wasn't Halloween 2 awesome? And if nothing else, that's a silver lining though, because you can watch a really awful film and be reminded of better times. You can look at it and be like, oh, hey, look, Michael just burst through Laurie's door in the same fashion he burst through the glass at the hospital. Well, that was cool. Michael don't give any Fs. Or you can look at the way Sarah slips in the blood when Tyra Banks is hung up in the air. She's just bleeding out. And you're like, oh, hey, I remember that. That's like Jimmy in the hospital. There are so many moments like that you can be like, oh, Rick Rosenthal included this because he's like, hey, I made Halloween 2. So perhaps that's fun for someone. Number 4, it's the mask. This mask is not terrible. Sure, it has its problems. Sure, this Michael looks like a man of resurrection's times. He looks like he'd have a closet full of Affliction brand t-shirts, or that he would just listen to Lit's My Own Worst Enemy on repeat. But at least he doesn't look like a pallid pedophile like the Michael Myers of Halloween 4, or he doesn't look like Farmer Michael from Halloween 5. He's not wearing a CGI mask that we see in a couple moments of H2O. So at least this film has that going for it. It has a halfway decent Myers mask. There are things I would correct about it, but it could have been way, way worse. It looks, halfway decent. And while we're at it, the man behind the mask ain't so terrible himself. Brad Loree does a commendable, a decent, a solid job of bringing the boogeyman to life. It's not his fault the script called for a kung fu fancy and Busta Rhymes to take it to Michael Myers. We all hate it, but it's not Brad Loree's fault. Like I said, he does a commendable job. His actions, his gestures, his mannerisms, his walk, they are not too far off. It is not Brad Loree's fault that Michael Myers is a punk-ass bitch in this film. Number 2, I do not hate this film's gimmick. Yes, it badly dates the film, but that is okay. I love Ghostface, I love Scream, and they got landlines in there. That is fine. I can always allow myself to go back in time while watching a film and put myself in that era. So I don't mind it for that reason. I just think the idea itself is relatively solid. I'm fine with satirizing that era of reality TV and everybody getting on to the online thing and found footage being big in horror. I don't care about that. I just wish it had been carried out differently. I love the idea. And I think if it had been, carried out by a more passionate and bold, creative team, we could be looking back now and be like, hey, I really like that one entry that satirizes pop culture and has something to say and includes a few nice grisly bits of found footage of Michael Myers. That's actually a fun, unique, interesting little gimmick. And they did it really well. They didn't, but the idea wasn't half bad. And number 1, the biggest positive to take away from Halloween Resurrection is that, okay, yes, there's a little side note here. Yes, okay, it totally destroys the triumphant victory of the finale of Halloween H2O. But the big positive, the main key thing to take away from this video is that beyond that, it doesn't tamper with Michael's mythos. It doesn't go into his backstory and pull a Rob Zombie and show you why he turned to murder en masse. He doesn't say, oh, he had a bad upbringing, and his mom was a stripper and he had an abusive stepdad and his sister was really nasty too and he was bullied something awful. It doesn't do that. It doesn't say, hey, he's governed by these weird Celtic runes. Do you like runes? Because Michael is governed by runes. It doesn't do anything like that. So we don't go back and over explain. We don't show Michael taking his mask off and crying. We don't do any of these things that really step outside of the confines of the character. We don't prescribe to him a singular, clear-cut motive. We allow him to just be the shape and to be evil and to be killing people because he is the personified condemnation of man. So at least Halloween Resurrection doesn't overstep in that fashion. So sorry, H2O, but at least Halloween 1978, they don't go back and be like, but after he killed Judith, did you know that this happened in the 15 years between the final moments of that night and then the night he came home? They don't do anything like that. Could have been way more egregious. And for that, we thank you, Halloween Resurrection. Thank you for being awful, but not as bad as it could have been. There you go. Those are 5 positives. Did you get anything out of this? I hope you did. I hope you at least got to crack a grin here or there. I know everyone else, when they do Resurrection, they just parrot the same ideas. We all see the problems. We all know the warts that are all over this film. So let's do something different. Let's talk about the good. Let's do a silver lining because Halloween Kills is coming out in a few days. So let's get the positive vibes going and hope for a better tomorrow. Hopefully Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends grants us that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm Nate for Nate Flicks, and that's a wrap.